Hi, my name is Kim Monning, and I'd like to welcome you to today's summit, Currencies in Crisis. If you've been watching the headlines of these past few weeks and you're shaking your head wondering what on earth is going on, you are not alone, my friend. We are living in unprecedented times. In the space of just a few months, we've seen the biggest banking collapse since Lehman Brothers and a panicked response from the U.S. Treasury to shore up the system. We've witnessed aggressive moves by China, Russia, Saudi Arabia, and others, all of which are racing to move away from the U.S. dollar, cutting the greenback out of their economies and dumping U.S. debt. Meanwhile, the Federal Reserve itself has declared its intent to end money as we know it, with the launch of a new digital currency as soon as July. What does this mean for your savings and investments? Well, one thing is clear. Investors are confused. Should we buy gold? Should we go to cash? Should we go all in on stocks in the hopes of a new bull market? Well, my guest tonight says if you take any of these steps, you could be making a huge mistake. We've never seen so many threats emerging all at once. And Larry Benedict is warning investors, brace yourselves, it's about to get even more crazy. But instead of running to cash or gold or speculating in stocks, he's advising a completely different approach, and that's why I've asked him to join us tonight. According to Larry, one corner of the market is catching fire right now, precisely because of all the moves we're seeing throughout the world today. From the indictment of a former U.S. president, to China's brazen takedown of the dollar, to the cracked foundation of the banking system, we are not on solid ground, not by a long shot. But despite all of this chaos, or perhaps because of it, one investment vehicle is making traders a small fortune. Yet Larry estimates not 1 in 100 even knows about it. And if history repeats, it could be the only government-backed asset that doesn't crash in the weeks ahead. So let's get right into it. Larry Benedict, you've got an awful lot on your plate these days. So thank you so much for joining us on such short notice.
Well, I had to be here, Kim. These are difficult times, and most investors have no idea what's about to happen next. They are about to get blindsided.
Well, you know, it reminds me of the old saying about the fog of war. It's hard for most people to react to what's going on, let alone understand it. Everyone seems ready to panic, but no one knows what to panic into, right? Bitcoin has soared this year. Gold is up 20% in the past 6 months. And tech stocks have staged a miraculous rebound, while all around us, the financial system seems to be falling apart. I don't know how else to put it. Banks are collapsing, and JP Morgan CEO Jamie Dimon says this crisis has only just begun. The dollar has been deserted by rival superpowers, China and Russia, and all of the so-called BRICS. While U.S. Treasuries, which are supposed to be risk-free, they've been crushed. So what exactly is going on here?
I get what you're saying, Kim, but I want everyone to take a deep breath.
What do you mean?
Well, on the surface, yes, the broader market is in trouble. But if you panic, you could regret it for the rest of your life.
Okay, I think we could all use a deep breath right about now. But I think we'd feel a lot better if we understood the nature of this threat and how to react to it. Have you ever seen anything like this before?
Well, I've lived through banking crises before. I've seen waves of defaults, market crashes, and wars. These events have repeated throughout history.
That's true, but rarely all at the same time.
Correct. So you have every right to be concerned. But if you make the right moves, you could have nothing to worry about during these times.
So are you saying none of this matters?
No, it matters a great deal. But if you spend every day trying to figure out which way the crisis will break next, you're going to lose a lot of sleep and a lot of money for nothing.
That sounds familiar. I think I can speak for all of us when I say we want all of this craziness and volatility to just stop.
Stop? Oh no, that's not what I'm saying at all.
Come again?
Volatility is here to stay, and that's a very good thing. Look, I know it's scary out there. There's a lot of terrifying headlines, but instead of focusing on the fear, I'd rather focus on making money.
Well, I've got to say, if anyone I know has made money in markets like this, it is definitely you. I mean, you went, 20 plus years in a row on Wall Street without a single losing year?
That's right. And the key to my success was reading the room, not panicking or overreacting.
So you really don't mind volatility at all?
No, you can't fight the market. You've got to focus on where the money is flowing and what assets are likely to move because of this chaos.
I get it. So most people are focusing on the randomness, the chaos, all of the fear and uncertainty, but you're ignoring all of that and focusing on its effect.
Correct. That's why most people are losing their mind right now. I'm focused on something else.
A different market.
Yes, thanks to all the chaos in the world, a window recently opened in the world's largest, most influential market. I don't know how long it will be open. The last time it closed suddenly without warning, and it stayed closed for about a decade.
And surprise, surprise, Wall Street has found a way to profit. A moment before we went on air, you told me Wall Street is raking in tens of billions of dollars from this market. Big banks like JP Morgan and Bank of America traders are having some of their best results ever. And late last year, their traders went an entire quarter without a single losing day.
That's right. In fact, they started turning to this market to make up for all their losses in all their divisions.
Well, let me ask you, what makes this market so special?
It has nothing to do with stocks, bonds, or options. It's much bigger. Every day, there is 200 times more money traded in this market than the entire stock market.
Did you say 200 times? Wow.
It's also more immune to bad news. In fact, bad news can actually make it better. Over the past 12 months, while the stock market is in shambles, assets in this market have hit a 20-year high.
So this market, you're saying it offers crash protection?
Yes, it's not foolproof, but it doesn't crash the same way that stocks do.
That's amazing. Broad sell-offs in the stock market have happened 4 times already this century. And as we speak, the stock market is down, banks are folding, and bond prices are plummeting. It feels like there's no safe place for your money to hide anymore, right? Yet this one corner of the market has never had an across-the-board crash.
As you can imagine, Wall Street would love to keep the market to themselves, and they've done an amazing job. To this day, most people don't know the first thing about it, let alone how to trade it.
Well, I'm certainly glad that you're here to help us make sense of all of it. For folks who are new to your work, I just want to make clear, as a hedge fund manager, Larry also used this specific market to help make millions for his clients. In fact, you were so good at trading, it helped you go 20 years without a single losing year. That period includes both the 2000 and 2008 stock market crashes. But today, for the first time, we're going to pull back the curtain and reveal how to access it right alongside Wall Street, including, and this got my attention, how you can start making thousands of dollars a month. And Larry, I hope you don't mind me trotting out your results like this, because I know you don't like to brag. But this is real people and real money. Over a 7-week beta test earlier this year, anybody who followed Larry's trades could have done exactly that, made thousands. And in some cases, the gains were over $1,500 in as little as 2 days. So in reality, the gains could come even faster.
I'm proud of our work, but I'm far more concerned about people who don't have access to it or don't know what to do next.
Well, I couldn't agree more. So let's get right to it, Larry. For the past few years, you've shown everyday folks how to make money from all types of investments, options, spreads, even lesser-known vehicles like structured notes. And those who are willing to get out of their comfort zone could have been richly rewarded. Last year, while the market was hemorrhaging money, your readers had the chance to not only avoid the chaos, but double their money or more. And now you're taking it a step further. You're jumping into a government-backed market that most people know nothing about, let alone how to trade it. And I'm talking about currencies, or Forex, as it's sometimes called.
That's right. I've waited a decade for this. Finally, the chaos window has opened again, and I can't wait to take advantage of it.
And it's all because of the wild volatility and the rolling crises we've seen in the markets?
Correct.
Well, let's be real here, Larry. I know you and your colleagues have made a fortune from the currency market, but is it really possible for everyday folks to make money too?
Absolutely. There are a lot of myths about currencies. Wall Street has managed to keep it to themselves. But here's the truth. It is actually open to everyone.
So you don't have to be an accredited investor or get special permission or have a background on Wall Street?
No, anyone can trade it. If you know how to trade stocks, you can start trading currencies. In fact, many people already do. The market is on fire.
We can see that on the screen there. The dollar recently hit levels it hasn't seen in 20 years. The euro is posting its biggest moves in decades. Same for the pound and the yen. Big moves are happening all the time.
All you have to do is get in front of some of these moves and you could see huge gains. You see there's a big difference between currencies and stocks.
What do you mean?
Imagine if Apple crashes. What's going to happen to the NASDAQ?
I don't know. I'm guessing it would crater?
Right, and for good reason. Apple is the largest component in the NASDAQ. If Apple crashes, its suppliers would crash too. So would the chip makers, and so would many others.
Sounds like a never-ending daisy chain of pain.
Yes, it might even trigger a stock market crash. But as powerful as Apple is, it has little to no effect on the currency market. No stock does. Let me show you an example. Jump back to January 2022.
Now, is this when the new chaos window opened up?
Yes, January 26 to be precise.
Now, for stock investors, January was terrible. I remember it well. That's when all the market chaos that we've been dealing with for over a year now got underway, right?
That's right. The market fell as much as 9%. Stocks like Tesla and Netflix crashed even further. It was awful, but not for currency traders.
Once the window opened up, it triggered a whole wave of moves, and you can see them there on your screen. You could have made $2,356 in 14 days, $1,353 in 14 days, and $1,298 in just 2 days, all from a series of $5,000 investments. Now, these are market examples, and we're going to discuss your specific trade recommendations later, Larry. But all these moves happened because of all of the volatility that we're seeing in the markets?
Yes, all the pain, all the uncertainty, that was the catalyst.
Wow, and you wouldn't have had to do anything special to book these gains? No insider knowledge, no crazy loopholes to jump through?
No, it's just a few mouse clicks in your Forex account. And this was just the start. Jump ahead to February.
Another bad month for the stock market.
Yes, a total disaster. The market plummeted. It suffered its biggest correction since the pandemic. Most investors got crushed, but not currency traders.
Yeah, it looks like they had several moves they could have taken advantage of. $1,632 in 3 days, $1,174 in 2 days, and $1,350 in 8 days. That's several $1,000s in just a matter of days. Are these kinds of moves normal?
No. For years, they were rare. But now the floodgates are open. Jump ahead to March.
Okay, we've got it on the screen there. And once again, there were a series of moves. You could have made $999 in 8 days, $1,022 in 2 days, $3,668 in 24 days. Are these gains coming from obscure currencies, Larry?
No, they're all from the three biggest names in the currency market, every one of them. Once a chaos window opens, this is what happens. Take a look at April.
The stock market was chaotic again. In fact, to your point, CNBC described April as exactly that, chaos. But currency traders could have seen $861 in 11 days, $1,546 in 7 days, and $1,380 in 2 days.
Which brings us all the way to today.
Now, I know these are some of the best examples, and past performance doesn't guarantee future results, but I get what you're saying here. Imagine trying to figure out what stocks to buy or sell at a time like this. I mean, how could anyone know? I mean, you might get lucky, you might lose big, it kind of seems like a crapshoot. But currencies are different. There's always an opportunity to profit.
That's right. And the gains often come in a few days. But the best part to me is these moves are not random. They can be anticipated.
They happen on a schedule?
Oftentimes, yes. There's even a calendar you can follow. I will show it to you. What's more, you don't have to trade dozens of currencies.
So all you need to focus on are just 3, right?
That's it. All the gains I will show you today are from 3 currencies. That is the secret to my success going back to my hedge fund days.
And Larry, I understand that you have been testing out your system with a group of beta testers. You've been delivering results like $521, $969, and even $1,823 in a matter of days. So in other words, everyday folks could have followed these trades, even if they had no experience, and been on the track to pocket tens of thousands of dollars this year?
Exactly right. I know it's hard to believe, but it's 100% true. It's all thanks to this new chaos window. Today, I will give you all the details and my number one currency to trade.
All right, as you can see, you have made an important decision to be here, folks. This is the very first time Larry's ever come forward to share his currency trading approach, and it couldn't come at a better time. With all of the chaos in the markets, most people are focused on holding on to what's left of their money. But if you're stuck playing defense and you ignore this opportunity, you could be making a huge mistake. Because if this opportunity is everything Larry says it is, this could be a chance to make up for any of your losses and then some. Now, just for attending today's event, you're going to receive for free some timely research that we're making available to you first. First, Larry will perform an on-air currency trade demonstration. You're going to get to see how to trade one of his favorite currencies right here on camera. Second, Larry will reveal his number one pick to trade right now. A major event is happening less than 2 weeks from now. It could trigger a whole new wave of massive moves. Larry will explain exactly what's going on and give you the name of the pick he expects to soar the highest. Plus, Larry will reveal his currency trading strategy and will even host a Q&A. Now, he can't give any personalized advice, but any general questions, those are fair game. It's all coming up in just a little bit. But first, tell us about this chaos window, Larry. Why is it open now, and when was the last time it opened?
Well, the last time it was open was in the 1980s. I can still remember it. It was very similar to today. An inflation crisis, relentless Fed hikes, wild volatility in the stock market. Currencies all around the world took off.
Yeah, it's there on the screen there. The dollar, the pound, and others spiked. They posted their biggest moves in decades.
Well, I was a young trader at the time. All around me, currency traders started making huge money. Andy Krieger is a good example.
If I'm not mistaken, you and he became colleagues, right? He was part of your research group a few years back.
That's right. He was a legendary Forex trader.
What's his claim to fame?
He stepped up at the time of crisis. He made one bet and walked away with a 9-figure fortune. He wrote a book about it.
What happened?
In the late 1980s, the New Zealand dollar went on a big run. It jumped 40% in 1 year.
Whoa, that's a big move for a currency.
Huge. Of course, stock market investors couldn't trade it, but Krieger took full advantage.
Well, tell me, what did he do?
He predicted it would collapse and made a big trade against it. He made $300 million from just one trade.
Wow, so when a currency is on the brink of collapse, you're saying it's possible to make profits, and the collapse of one currency doesn't take down the whole market, right? In fact, it can be great for other currencies.
Well, Kim, you're a fast learner.
Thank you.
Here's another example. George Soros. Have you ever heard of him?
Oh, sure, who hasn't?
Well, back in 1992, he became famous for breaking the Bank of England.
I've heard about this, but I don't quite remember all the details.
Well, at the time, the English currency, the British pound, was at a 10-year high. But inflation was high and its economy was slowing.
Sounds a lot like today. And I'm guessing it was only a matter of time before the pound bit the dust. So what did Soros do?
He predicted the pound would collapse in value. He was right. He made $1 billion in a single day in one trade.
That's crazy. I mean, that's the biggest one-day windfall I've ever heard of. Is that common?
No, it happens during these windows, when there's an imbalance in the system, just like we're seeing today.
You know, speaking of an imbalance in the system, I know exactly what you mean. I don't claim to understand everything that's happening in the financial world, but you can almost feel it, right? It feels like we're on the brink of massive change.
We are. That's why I'm so focused on Forex right now, for the first time in over a decade.
I understand that over the years, you've created your own currency trading strategy.
Yes, and it's worked quite well.
That's an understatement. With that system in place, you went on one of the greatest runs in Wall Street history. I mean that literally. Listen to this, folks. From 1990 to 2010, Larry was perfect. He didn't have a single losing year.
I was fortunate. The chaos window was open the whole time. I traded Forex constantly.
Is it true that you've traded more than $500 billion worth of currencies in your career?
Yes, in notional value, and I believe that's the low end. If I had a record of all my past trades, I'm sure the number would be close to $1 trillion.
So To put that in perspective, more than 90% of the countries in the world have a GDP less than $1 trillion.
Yes, currencies were the place to be. Until the window closed about a decade ago, everyone was getting in, even Warren Buffett.
Really? I thought Buffett was all about buy and hold.
That's what he says, but in the early 2000s, he got into currencies and he made $2 billion from a single investment.
Whoa, what's notable about your 20-year run is your success during bad markets just like this. During 2008, the market fell 37%, but your hedge fund returned 23% growth. You delivered $95 million to your clients. You were trading currencies during that time, right?
Yes, multiple times a day. That's what I want everyone to realize. It doesn't matter what's happening in the stock market.
So even in as difficult a time as we're in right now, it doesn't matter? All that matters is that the chaos window is open.
Yes, and the tragedy is most investors will be distracted by the chaos. They will make terrible emotional decisions and they'll never get back to even. But if you keep your cool and follow my strategy, you could really do well.
I sure hope you're right, Larry. In 2022, the average retirement account lost nearly a quarter of its value. And that's according to Fidelity, which means the average person out there, they had to watch years of hard-earned savings disappear. And 2023's been no picnic either. When Silicon Valley Bank collapsed, it marked the worst bank failure since 2008. And we've seen more bank failures since. And I'm sure I'm not the only one who fears there may be another shoe or two to drop. In fact, a lot of smart people, including Ray Dalio and others, are predicting more pain ahead for the stock market. At a time like this, with a financial storm raging, I'm sure the thought of making steady, consistent gains seems like a fantasy to a lot of people.
Well, if you were trading the normal way, that would be true. Making thousands a month would be a fantasy, which is why I'm pounding the table for currencies right now. The last time this chaos window opened, you were locked out.
You mean since currencies weren't really accessible to everyday folks, Wall Street was able to keep the gains to themselves?
That's right. Not this time around. Everyone can get a cut. Look what happened in May.
After roaring higher, the dollar posted its biggest monthly drop in 12 months. Had you traded one of these currencies, you could have seen $1,698 in 8 days, $856 in 3 days, or $997 in 7 days.
Well, let's look at June. On June 8th, the dollar hit a 2-decade high against the yen.
Once again, you could have made $2,362 in 7 days, $1,432 in 5 days, and $2,662 in 12 days, all from trading just 3 currencies.
And it was the same story in July and August, and all the way up to today.
But why, Larry? What's causing all of these moves, and what caused this new chaos window to open?
Kim, that's a great question. It all goes back to 2008.
In what way? Are you talking about the crash?
No, it's the response to the crash. Do you remember what the Fed did?
Let's see. We had all the bank bailouts, the quantitative easing, and the Fed cut interest rates. Is that what you mean?
Very good. The Fed slashed interest rates to nearly zero, and the Fed wasn't the only one. All big central banks did it. In fact, it was coordinated.
Well, how did this affect the currency market?
Well, it basically killed it. Since rates were all the same and they were near zero, there was nothing to trade.
Okay, so in other words, you couldn't trade currencies against each other because everything was flat.
Exactly. This was bad for trading. You want lots of movement to make money.
So what happened? What did you do?
Well, I didn't trade currencies very much, but last year that all changed. As the Fed started raising rates, it created a lot of volatility and opportunity for us.
So it started sending currencies up and down, big moves like we hadn't seen in years.
Yes, this was bad for stock market investors. They lost big, but for currency traders, it created an unbelievable opportunity to make money, as you can see here.
Wow, okay, according to Bloomberg, volatility is creating enormous fortunes for traders.
Over the past year, Wall Street has turned to their currency traders, and they've made a fortune.
It says here, rates and currencies traders just handed Wall Street's trading desks their best third quarter ever. JP Morgan in particular saw record-breaking results. I mean, this is an amazing stat. Bank of America's traders went the entire quarter without a single losing day. I mean, that's crazy. 90 straight days of gains? I don't think I've ever heard of anything like that.
We're talking about all the big banks, JP Morgan, Citigroup, Goldman Sachs, Morgan Stanley, and Bank of America. Combined, they've all made tens of billions of dollars in the currency market.
I had no idea this was going on. All I remember is Wall Street telling us to brace ourselves. Their message was basically, there's nothing you can do. Just try to absorb the punches and hope for the best. Meanwhile, they've been trading currencies and making record profits. I mean, if that isn't proof that the pillars of financial power keep the best ideas to themselves, I don't know what is.
It's unbelievable, right?
Yes.
But here's what you need to remember. It doesn't have to be this way. Everyday folks could be making money right now alongside of them. Can we pull up the next chart?
Yeah, sure. Okay, we've got it on screen there. And what are we looking at here? Is this the British pound?
Yes. This is the performance last August and September.
That's a big move. What happened?
Well, do you remember all the chaos with the new prime minister?
Oh, yes. You're talking about the lady who was only in for a couple of weeks?
6 weeks to be exact. Her name was Liz Truss. Inflation was running rampant in the UK, so she proposed some risky moves to fix the economy. Long story short, it was a complete failure.
Yeah, so we can see it there on the screen. The pound fell 11% against the dollar in a month and a half, and it hit a record low. It got so bad that Deutsche Bank warned about a sterling crisis.
Well, now, for most investors, that was really bad news. Even here in America, look what happened to the stock market.
Yikes, the S&P fell 13% over the same time period. I mean, you're right, everybody got crushed.
Everybody except currency traders. Check this out.
With one currency trade, you could have made over $11,000. That's the biggest gain we've seen yet. While most investors lost their shirts, those who are willing to try the currency market could have seen a 5-figure payday?
Yes, and it's because of all the chaos. Here's another example. Jump back to November.
Okay, what happened this time?
The latest inflation data came out. It came in at 7.7, slightly lower than forecast.
It sent the dollar tumbling, the biggest two-day drop in nearly 14 years. That sounds pretty chaotic, Larry.
It was for sure. For most people, this was a bad thing. It meant their dollars were worth a lot less. But for currency traders, it was great news.
Right. You could have made $2,761 in just 2 days.
And look at July.
The dollar retreated ahead of a rate hike. This time around, you could have made $3,010 in 14 days.
Well, think about it, Kim. Think about making $3,000 right now.
For a lot of people, that's a mortgage payment from one trade. I know nothing in the market is ever guaranteed, but are these exceptional examples?
No, they're happening all the time. Please understand, Kim, we're seeing moves like we haven't seen in years. The chaos window is open. In fact, there's more money to be made than ever before.
And when you say that, when you say there's more money to be made than ever, what do you mean? Do you mean that the actual size of the currency market is getting bigger?
Yes. For years now, Forex has been the world's biggest market, but now it's bigger than ever. Around 7 trillion change hands every day.
That number is so big, it's really just hard to wrap my head around it.
Well, think about it this way. Every day, there's 200 times more money traded in currencies than the stock market.
Most people don't know the first thing about this market, let alone how to trade it. Yet there's 200 times more money up for grabs than with stocks.
And that money isn't going anywhere. Like I said, it's actually growing.
What was it before?
Well, a few years ago, the daily volume was around 5 trillion. Today, sometimes it hits 7.4 trillion. This is the exact opposite of what's happening in the stock market.
Last year, trillions of dollars of stock market wealth disappeared. At one point, as much as $13 trillion vanished into the ether.
Look how that impacts everyday folks.
Yes, in 2022, the average 401k lost 23%. In other words, stock investors were scrambling for table scraps. Meanwhile, Wall Street currency traders are having a 7-course meal.
They are gorging on it as we speak.
Yeah.
Jump back to last April.
What happened this time?
Well, Fed Chairman Jerome Powell announced a big rate hike was on the table. Now, once again, this was bad for a lot of people.
Oh, yeah, right. The stock market fell 8% in April, ushering in a month of chaos.
Everyday investors got crushed, but not currency traders.
The dollar hit a 2-year high. Had you placed a trade, you could have made $1,546 in just 7 days. That's quite the disparity. So while the S&P posted one of its biggest monthly drops in years, one currency trade paid off big.
It's night and day, right?
Yeah.
That's what could have happened during a chaos window.
Now, Larry, does the dollar have to hit a 2-year high for us to make a big gain? What about smaller moves?
Great question. The answer is no. Even smaller moves can deliver big gains.
Can we see an example of that?
Sure. Take one of our beta test trades. In February, we issued a trade between two big currencies.
And you predicted that one would get slightly stronger than the other. Is that right?
Yes. Now, not a lot stronger, but just a little bit, around 1 cent worth. Look at the gains.
In just 8 days, you could have made $521 from a $5,000 investment. That's all it took? A 1 cent move? That's really unbelievable. I mean, if you bought $5,000 worth of Apple stock and the price moved a penny, you'd barely make a dime.
It's true, Kim, and yet most people are settling for that dime. They could have hundreds of dollars instead.
It's almost impossible to amplify your earning power to that degree anywhere else. With stocks, if it rises a penny, you only make a penny. And if it falls a penny, you lose a penny. Same thing with bonds or any conventional investment. Yet with currencies, you can play them either way and potentially make hundreds, even thousands of dollars, in some cases in just a few days, from a tiny move.
You are starting to see why I think everybody should try Forex.
Yes, I definitely am. And I will say you have made it as easy as possible to follow. Being able to flip this chaos to our advantage with a system that's worked for decades, trading just 3 currencies, doesn't get more straightforward than that.
That's all it takes to potentially make money every week.
Okay, we're going to get into your strategy in just a minute. We're also going to discuss your number one currency to trade right now. You're going to want to see exactly what it is, folks. If it moves like Larry expects it to, you could have the chance to make a lot of money in the coming days. But Larry, there is something that I'm sure a lot of people are wondering, and that is, couldn't the same thing happen to the currency market that's happening to the stock market now? I mean, for years, the stock market was on fire. It seemed like practically every year it was breaking out to a new high. And of course, we all know what happened next. It all came crashing down. Couldn't the currency market find itself in the same situation?
That's a great question, but I believe the answer is no.
Why not? Why does the currency market offer broad market crash protection?
Because currencies don't trade like stocks and bonds. They trade in pairs. When one goes up, another goes down.
Okay, in other words, when you hear someone say the dollar is rising, what they really mean is that it's rising versus another currency.
Exactly. That's the way currencies work. If one is strong, the other is weak.
And that's why you're protected against a broad market crash, because of that seesaw action, right?
Exactly. Individual currencies may fall, but another currency always goes up.
So are there any circumstances under which the entire currency market could collapse?
Sure, it's possible, but not very likely. This chart illustrates what I'm talking about.
Yeah, we see it there on the screen. It's called the Barclay Hedge Currency Traders Index.
That name's a mouthful, but the strategy is simple. It's an index that tracks currency traders.
This is its performance since its inception in 1979 to March of 2023. That's got to be the smoothest chart I've ever seen. It almost never goes down.
Crazy, right? Look at stress points in the Forex market.
We had the Asian currency collapse in the late 90s, Soros versus the Bank of England in the early 90s, even COVID.
Through it all, there was never a widespread crash, and the same is true today.
Are you sure that's accurate, Larry? It seems too good to be true.
It's accurate. Another currency portfolio shows the same thing. Check it out.
This one is called the Eureka Hedge FX Hedge Fund Index. Is that right?
It's just like the other. It follows the performance of Forex hedge fund managers.
And look at that performance. In 2022, while the stock market crashed, it delivered 12.87% returns. That's amazing. I talked to a lot of financial experts, and nobody's talking about this. It's one of the best kept secrets in finance.
It's a huge advantage over the stock market. Think about how many crashes we've had this century.
Well, we had the 2022 crash, the 2020 crash, the 2008 crash, and the 2000 crash. Did I get them all?
Yes, very good. There were 4 major crashes. The stock market collapsed by as much as 76%, and the effects were felt for years.
Wow. It took 15 years to recover after the 2000 crash. So in other words, you had to wait a decade and a half just to get back to even?
And to make it worse, we've had another 10 corrections. Every other year, on average, the market has dropped as much as 15% within a year.
Is that true? I had no idea the stock market was so volatile.
Crazy, right? But with Forex, you don't have to worry about that. Currency traders avoid all these drops.
You know, I feel like I'm being exposed to a completely new world here. There's the stock market world, and it's been total chaos lately. Crashes, rate hikes, and massive corrections every other year. That's the world we're all familiar with. And then there's this realm of Forex, where apparently there are no market crashes, no recessions, and where more money is flowing into than ever.
There is so much money to be made right now, Kim. Look at these examples.
In July, the euro dropped a few pennies relative to the dollar. You could have made $1,208 in 9 days. In September, a U.S. dollar surge could have given you $3,040 in 6 days. In December, a U.S. dollar drop could have given you $1,207 in just 8 days.
These are just a few examples. I could show you many, many more.
Your team put together a list of recent moves in the market. Obviously, it would have been impossible to capture all of them, but as you can see, there are a lot of examples of big winners here. $2,199 in 7 days, $1,480 in 2 days, $3,040 in 6 days, $3,681 in 8 days, $3,159 in 12 days, and on and on and on. These are all from the past 12 months from just 3 currencies.
Every one of them. Again, this is a small sample size. I could show you tons more. Here's the bottom line. There is no need to suffer anymore.
We don't have to delay retirement or wait out this market. That's all in the past.
Yes, using just 3 currencies, you can generate steady income every single week.
Well, if anybody knows how to handle a difficult market, it is you, Larry. During a period that included both the 2000 and 2008 crashes, you were perfect. You never had a single losing year. And last year, you did it again. As the NASDAQ fell 33%, you showed your readers how to see double and even triple-digit growth. So if we are in for some tough times, this guy right here, you are just the man I'd want in my corner. When can folks start using your strategy?
Immediately. In fact, I've identified the perfect opportunity, and it's coming right up.
When? Is there an exact date?
May 1st, to be exact. That's when the next big opportunity hits. You need to be ready before that date.
Well, and that's why we wanted you here, Larry. For those joining us late, you have made a timely decision to be here. We are smack in the middle of one of the most difficult market environments in decades. We're seeing bank failures, inflation, layoffs, a whipsawing market, and more. And some of the smartest experts, including Larry, believe we are in for several more difficult years. Some believe the pain could last for a decade or more. And even if they're half right, that could push millions of people farther and farther away from that dream retirement that we all hope for. Fortunately, there is a solution. By tapping into the currency market, you could not only avoid the chaos, but use it to have a chance to make money consistently. Using Larry's strategy, you have the chance to piggyback one of the best currency traders alive today. His hedge fund was ranked in the top 1% for several years by Barron's. You can see his ranking on your screen. 36th in the world. Considering there are 10,000 hedge funds, that is an incredible achievement. In fact, because of his success, he's one of the few dozen people in the entire world to earn the label Market Wizard. We have the book right here. He was featured in the best-selling series with an entire chapter. Now, for the first time, he's showing you how to access this market and even offering to guide you along on your journey. The only catch is that you need to act quickly. The next big opportunity to use his strategy is just days away. We've also got Larry's on-air trade demonstration, the name of his #1 currency, a major announcement from Larry, and a Q&A. That is all coming up. But first, let's get right into it. I want to know your secret. What is your strategy for capturing these kinds of gains?
Well, I can't reveal everything. After all, that is the secret to my success. But I can share a few things. Secret number one is to put a P on the page.
I've heard you touch on that before. What does that mean exactly, put a P on the page?
Well, when I started out trading, I did what most people do. I swung for the fences. I wanted to make $1 million overnight.
And I'm guessing that didn't go very well.
No, not at all. I didn't. I got fired many times, but gradually I evolved. My goal became to put a P on the page every day.
And P stands for profit, right?
Correct.
Okay, in other words, you stopped shooting for the 100% gainers and instead you focused on steady, consistent gains. So 2% to 5% every single day over and over again?
Yes, that's all it takes, especially when it comes to currencies. Let me show you what I mean.
What are we looking at?
Trading statements from my hedge fund days. Don't worry about the trades. Look at the dates.
It goes one day to the next. It looks like you were trading every day.
We weren't hitting home runs, just lots of singles, but the singles grew into millions.
Now I get what you're saying, Larry, and I agree with your general approach, but still, isn't it smart to go big every now and then? I mean, after all, even in bad years, you get into the right stock at the right time and it can move the needle on your entire portfolio, right?
Sure. Let me ask you a question, Kim. Go back to last year. How many stocks in the S&P 500 returned over 100%?
Well, I'm guessing it wasn't very many, but still, there must have been a few, right?
Just one.
One?
One. Occidental Petroleum. Forget about making 1,000%. You would be lucky to make 100%.
But 2022 was an especially bad year, so is it really fair to use it as an example?
Well, go back to 2021. You still only had a dozen stocks that had 100% gain.
That's it?
Yes. And of course, there were no 1,000% winners for sure.
So even if it's a good year, you're still talking about a small fraction.
Yes. Listen, I know it's fun to hit a grand slam. I've had my share of big winners over the years, 300%, 500%, 700%, and so on. But my success comes from a lot of base hits.
So that's the secret to compounding your wealth. Put a P on the page.
Yes, and in the long run, you will end up a lot wealthier.
Well, to your point, this approach helped you grow your hedge fund to over $800 million. So it's hard to argue with that kind of success. If you can make 2% every day the markets are open, that's 10% a week. You do that over the course of a year, 504%.
Well, obviously, there's still going to be some losers here and there, but even still, you're talking about a lot of money.
Yes, you are. Okay, so the first secret of your strategy is put a P on the page. What's next?
Number two, use volatility to your advantage.
But how do you do that? Is there a way to anticipate when and where the volatility is going to hit?
Well, with currencies, yes. Look at this.
It looks like a calendar.
Yes, I call it the chaos calendar. See all these events?
Yes, every week there's something. Fed announcements, inflation reports, and many other things that most of us have probably never heard of.
Well, the currency market is connected to everything. The economy, the stock market, and more. All kinds of events can trigger moves.
So this calendar is a cheat sheet of sorts. You can use it to know when a big move is likely.
That's right. You can see some examples here.
January, an event popped up on the calendar, $1,298 in 2 days. March, another event popped up, $999 in 8 days. May, $1,698 in 8 days. July, $3,010 in 14 days. September, $1,520 in 6 days. November, $2,761 in just 2 days, and on and on.
There are Forex events every week. Not everyone is important, but many are. So you can use them to get ahead of the volatility.
Well, I guess I shouldn't be surprised that you know how to use volatility to your advantage. After all, you worked on the Chicago Board Options Exchange, and this is the outfit that created the VIX, the famous volatility index. That's the gold standard indicator that everybody uses. What's more, going back to the beginning of last year, the market's been extremely volatile. Yet anybody following your work could have avoided the chaos and actually made money. You've truly made a career out of bad markets like this one. Okay, so we have covered putting a P on the page every day and using volatility to your advantage, are there any other parts of your strategy?
There are. I also use some technical indicators. It would take too long to break them all down. Instead, I've put them all in a special report. When you combined all the parts, you can do really, really well.
Well, now that's an understatement. As I mentioned earlier, Larry had his returns audited. You can see the net income he delivered to his clients. 2004, $5.2 million. 2005, $4.6 million. 2006, $32.4 million. 2007, $56 million. 2008, $95.7 million. 2009, $70.4 million. 2010, $75.1 million. We're talking hundreds of millions of dollars in pure profits.
And it's not just in the past. My strategy continues to work today.
Well, let's talk about that. Starting in January, you did a beta test. This wasn't some back test that an MBA student put together on his laptop. You issued a series of real, actual trades to a group of beta testers, assuming a starting stake of $5,000 per trade. Is that right?
Correct. Nothing was hypothetical. It was 100% real.
And what happened?
It worked really great. Jump back to January 30th.
Tell us what was happening in the stock market.
It was starting to fall, but we didn't care. We recommended a trade. You can see the results.
Overnight, as much as $528? That is fast.
Yes, and we're just getting going.
It looks like the same day that one closed, February 1st, you issued the next trade.
And it worked even better.
Yes, this time you could have made $1,893. So within about a week, your beta testers could have made over $2,000. There are probably some people who haven't had a $2,000 week for some time now, and you made that with just 2 trades.
That's right, and we're not done yet. On February 6th, we issued our next recommendation.
So you weren't waiting around. You were issuing one trade after the next.
Absolutely, and why not? This is what's great about currencies. We're in a chaos window. You can trade them all day, every day.
And this time, it looks like you could have made as much as $521. And I see that as soon as that trade closed, you were right into the next one.
This one took a little bit longer, 24 days, but it was worth it.
Yeah, you could have made $969. And once again, you were right into another trade.
And this one was arguably our best one. On March 13th, we issued a new trade. Look what happened.
By March 15th, just 2 days, your beta testers could have made up to $1,823. Now, I know not every trade was a winner, but we are talking about an average of $566 every week from $5,000 investments. You were on track to deliver tens of thousands of dollars on the year. That kind of windfall would be a dream come true right now, especially when you consider that the S&P 500 fell 4% over the same time period.
When we saw these results, it was clear the strategy works. We knew we needed to share it with our readers.
Well, the way I see it, with everything they're going through right now, it would be a disservice not to. In just the past few months, we've had the biggest banking scare since 2008. Several regional banks, including Silicon Valley's go-to bank, collapsed. We've had inflation and recession scares nonstop. Yet through all of this, your beta testers could have seen a near continuous stream of gains.
That's right. That's why I'm here today. I want everybody watching to have the same opportunity.
And I'm sure I'm not the only one who wakes up every morning wondering, if this is the day the economy officially falls apart. The idea of making steady income while everything else seems to be on the verge of collapse would allow for true peace of mind.
Stock market crashes, rate hike, years of lousy market returns. Who really cares? You can finally escape all of that.
And just to be clear, you were trading just 3 currency pairs in your beta test. I mean, you don't have to invest in obscure currencies or currencies that have defaulted in the past, like the Argentine peso.
No, you can forget about all those. They are way too risky. I never touch them.
That's what I really like about you. I know that risk management is one of your specialties. During your time on Wall Street, you went 13 years with a maximum monthly loss of just 3.5%. And talking to you before, I know that your targeted approach was a big reason for that. There are 180 currencies from 197 different countries. I mean, how can anyone know the ins and outs of all of them?
Imagine if you had 180 investments. Could you know them all well? Well, it's the same thing for Forex. I track less than 1% of currencies on the planet. I know them very well. I trade them over and over again.
Now, before we ask you to reveal your number one ticker to trade right now, let's talk about your next big opportunity. You said May 1st was the date to keep an eye on. Is this all about the next Fed announcement?
Yes, just before it.
Okay, in that case, I've got to share something with the folks at home. Back in March of last year, I interviewed Larry, and he shared his outlook on the Fed. Looking back, he was almost prophetic. He predicted a year of rate hikes and inflation. At the time, almost no one agreed with him. You probably remember the Fed proclaiming inflation is transitory and interest rates would never rise. But the so-called experts, they were dead wrong. And Larry was 100% right. But even better, he found a way to profit from his conviction. While most investors bet on a Fed pivot, he said no, more hikes were coming. He even called the hike in March. He predicted a 25 basis point hike, and he was spot on. I don't think I've ever seen someone call a series of moves so perfectly. So that's the backdrop here. When Larry talks about the Fed, it pays to listen. All right, go ahead, Larry.
Okay, here's what's going on. I think the Fed is going to pause here.
For good or just for now?
For now, I think they'll pause and see how the economy responds. We've been through a lot lately, Kim.
That's right. We've had the banking crisis, the war in Ukraine, widespread layoffs, and lots of rate hikes. So you think the Fed is going to pause and take stock of the situation?
Correct.
So does that mean the end of all of the volatility?
Not at all. The opposite. It means we're entering a whole new era of volatility. See, we're not out of the woods yet. We're not even close.
Wait, not even close? But Larry, I've got to say, a lot of folks are predicting the Fed is going to start cutting rates. So you disagree?
That's wishful thinking. We have a long way to go here.
If the Fed were to stop here, you think inflation would race even higher?
Yes. You think the world feels chaotic now. Just imagine how much worse it could get. You can't fix these things overnight. It takes time. Think of the 80s.
What happened?
Well, it took years. Rates reached 16%. We're not done yet, Kim.
So you see more inflationary pressure in the months ahead, which is not great for stocks, but good news for the dollar, right? When rates go up, its value rises.
Yes, I'm bullish on the dollar versus other currencies here. I think we will get a lot stronger over the next 12 months. It's my number one currency to trade right now.
Well, that's fascinating. This whole chaos window started with the dollar taking off. Now you say it's going to take off again, triggering a new wave of trading opportunities?
Exactly. Most people are going to be shocked. They don't see this coming. That's why we have such a huge advantage right now.
Well, and this is important, folks. Larry's predicted each zigzag move of the Fed as well as anybody. If he's right again, it could kick off a massive trading opportunity starting immediately. While most investors see nothing but chaos, you could be capturing a whole slew of gains.
Yes, like I said, most people don't see this coming. But if you get in ahead of it, you could see massive gains.
And let's say you're wrong, Larry. Okay, let's say the Fed starts slashing rates. What happens? Does that kill the market?
No, not at all. It would create a whole new set of trading opportunities. That's what's so great about Forex. You can trade it either way.
So whichever action the Fed takes, it's ultimately good news for Forex traders.
Exactly. We're flexible. We'll trade it either way.
Okay, Larry, let me see if I can sum everything up here. As a hedge fund manager, you went 20 years without losing money. Your hedge fund, Banyan Capital, was one of the most successful hedge funds on Wall Street. It was ranked in the top 1%. And during that time, one of your biggest secrets to success was your currency trading strategy. Once the window opened, you used it for years to make millions for your clients over and over again in any market. In fact, some of the best results came in turbulent markets just like this one. Then, when the window opened again, you started beta testing it. And the results have been amazing. Your beta testers could have made $500, $1,000, even $1,800 or more in a matter of days. So despite all of the chaos that we've seen in 2023 and now in the coming weeks, you believe the chaos is only going to get worse. But instead of panicking, you've got a strategy to profit from it that's worked time and again.
That's exactly right. Now look, I cannot guarantee things will unfold 100% as I predict. Of course not. Nothing is guaranteed. But you can't argue with my results.
No, you can't. Your strategy clearly works, and the beta test proves it. Though it seems silly to think anyone would doubt you after you went 20 years on Wall Street without losing a dime. So let me ask you, when will you release your next recommendation?
Very soon. I'm getting it finalized right now. Just remember, you have very little time to act on it. The market moves fast. If you put it off, even one day, you can completely miss out.
Okay, folks, please remember that. You will want to be ready to act ASAP. Don't wait until the panic is underway. Get in beforehand. And Larry, I understand that you are preparing an alert. You're going to send it out as soon as the next opportunity opens up.
That's right. It'll be short and to the point. Action to take and the currency.
So if someone doesn't have experience trading currencies, will they be able to make this trade?
Absolutely. Just enter the currency and make a few mouse clicks. It's very straightforward.
I think this is a good time for your on-air trade demonstration. Are you ready?
Let's do it.
All right. Please note that while this simulation is live, this is not an official recommendation. This is intended for educational purposes only to show you exactly how Larry's strategy works. Okay.
Here we go.
Here we go.
So you take out my screen and the currencies are on the bottom of the screen, the euro, British pound, and the yen. If you want to place a trade, you would click on the yen and it would come up. It's trading at 133.66.5 and you would hit either buy or sell and it would pull up the screen for that and you just click one more button and you're in.
Okay, very good. That wasn't nearly as hard as I thought.
Like I said before, if you can trade stocks, you can definitely trade currencies.
Now, the dollar isn't the only currency you're recommending today, isn't that right?
That's correct. I've also got two more. I've been trading them for years. We use them during our beta test to deliver big gains.
And as I understand it, you've prepared a report. It's called Larry's Complete Guide to Currency Trading.
That's right. This report will show how to start trading currencies the right way.
Now, first off, you'll get a detailed breakdown of the currency market. And as you've seen, it's different from the stock market. There are no complex financial statements, broad market crashes, or down years. Instead, you have trillions of dollars flying around every day, and the best investors in the world all jockeying to get a cut. Then Larry will give you a detailed breakdown of all three of his favorite currencies. They're all large, well-established currencies, and they're perfectly positioned for big moves in today's market. And finally, Larry will reveal his entire approach. Does that include the parts of your strategy that you weren't able to cover today, Larry?
Yes, it'll cover everything, including things we couldn't get into today.
All right, sounds great. And it will even break down the key dates to keep an eye on. Larry issues trades all throughout the year, but these are the dates that are likely to trigger the biggest moves in the currency market. You'll get them all in the special report. So whether you've been trading currencies for years or you're just getting started, you'll want to get all the details on Larry's strategy. It's really no exaggeration to say that it could be worth thousands upon thousands of dollars to you. Plus, Larry's also put together a currency training center. Tell us about it, Larry.
Sure. Listen, I know Forex can be intimidating, especially if you've never done it before. Through a series of short videos and special reports, we can help you get started.
And this is a tremendous resource. It's the most detailed currency training site I know of. It's just like it sounds. It's designed to show you exactly how to get started. Larry and his team have created videos on everything from how to set up an account, how to place a trade, how to set stop losses, and more. Now he's offering you complete, unrestricted access. You'll find all the instructions you need to act on Larry's next series of recommendations. Now, before we get to the other resources that you've prepared, why don't we get to your big announcement, Larry?
Sure. For the first time, I am launching a currency trading research service. Anyone who joins right now can get a special deal.
That is big news. And Larry's new research service is called Currency Wizard. It's the only currency trading service we know of that lets you trade actual recommendations from a market wizard. Of the few dozen market wizards in the entire world, Larry's the only one willing to share his secrets with everyday folks. Every week, Larry will show you how to use his strategy. While buy and hold investors watch their portfolio bounce up and down and end up right back where it started, those following his recommendations will have the chance to pull thousands out of the currency market every week. If his success is anything like the other services he's launched recently, it could be immensely profitable to you. And listen to this, folks. Last year, an S&P trader. His spread trading research service, Larry delivered a 79% win rate. Most people are happy with anything over 50%, and he crushed that. All told, during a year where the market was deep in the red, anybody who followed all of Larry's S&P trader recommendations could have made double-digit profits. And his opportunistic trader readers could have made even more. During one of the most difficult markets ever, anybody who followed all of his picks could have generated 155% return on cash. That more than doubles your money. Obviously, no strategy is foolproof, but it's hard to argue with that kind of success, Larry.
Oh, thanks so much, Kim. I'm just happy that I'm able to help my subscribers. A lot of people are struggling right now. They don't know what to do, and they have been told there's nothing they can do.
Yeah, that's true. I hear these experts saying that we just have to ride out this down market and hope for the best. It's really depressing.
Well, that's garbage. You can make money in today's market.
Well, based on your results, not only can you make money, it's possible to make a lot of money. And I haven't even mentioned his success in One Ticker Trader. This is his introductory service that he launched in August of last year. Larry delivered a perfect track record in 2022, 11 for 11. He didn't have a single losing recommendation, and he keeps delivering double-digit returns.
Oh, thanks so much, Kim. I'm proud of this success, but I'm most excited about my new currency strategy. We use the same kind of techniques, only the profit potential is bigger.
Well, that's great news because already the profit potential has been huge. Just listen to what some of the folks already following your work have reported making from your other services. Todd says, this morning at 9:40 a.m., I am at Lowe's buying stuff to paint my house and check E-Trade on my phone while I'm in the store. I made over $7,000. I quickly closed out the positions in the store and smiled as I checked out. Thank you, Larry. Chris N says, I made $12K within 3 hours. I get the feeling that Larry's strategy is the only thing I will need to retire comfortably. Thanks, Larry, for taking the decision to help common people. He made $4,000 per hour, Larry. I mean, that's just incredible. Rod R says, over 800%. That's my biggest 24-hour trade I've had in over 20 years. Thanks, Larry. Rod didn't say how much he invested, but if my math is correct, an 800% gain turns $5,000 into $45,000.
I love hearing these stories, Kim. It makes it all worth it to me. The good news is if you missed out, don't worry. We're just getting started.
Yes, we are. And here's the point, folks. Normally in a moment like this, there's a leap of faith, right? All you can do is hope that the expert can actually deliver on his promises. Well, that is not the case today. The track record, it's all there. Not only did Larry deliver for years as a hedge fund manager, making millions every year for his clients, he continues to deliver today. Now you have a chance to access his latest project for an unbelievable deal. Now, how much would you pay to have access to the ideas of a man who's generated $274 million in wealth, who had 20 profitable years in a row? An independent firm in San Francisco legally audited the results of Larry's fund, Banyan Capital, from 2004 through 2012. They confirmed that Larry and his team generated a total of $274,572,167. That's net income, bottom line. He ran money for the Saudi National Bank, for two of the oldest private Swiss banks, a private Luxembourg bank owned by the Al Thani family, the ruling family of Qatar, the Bank of New York, and more. The point is, Larry is not your average trader. According to Barron's, he's one of the top money makers in the entire world. Now, when Larry was running money, you couldn't get access to his ideas unless you had a minimum account of $1 million. It was for multimillionaires and billionaires only. But the good news here is that this membership doesn't cost nearly that much. One full year of Currency Wizard costs $4,000. To get access to one of the top money makers on the planet, well, it's a steal if you ask me. However, because the next opportunity is upon us, and because Larry's next set of trade alerts could potentially deliver extraordinary gains in just a matter of days, if you join right now, you won't pay nearly as much. We're going to slash the price all the way down to $2,000. That gives you a 50% discount. And that's not all. Larry went to bat for you and arranged an unbelievable bonus. Tonight only, you can claim an additional year for free.
That's right. With the action we're seeing, I think the next several years will be especially good for traders. So I've convinced my publisher to offer a second year for free.
Just incredible. But again, this is only available tonight. That is such a generous deal, Larry. Based on the results that you've delivered, they have the chance to make way more than $2,000 from a single trade. I mean, imagine what you could do with a whole series of them. Please don't wait, folks. Just click the link on the page to get started. It will take you to a completely secure order form where you can review everything. And more importantly, you can place your order there. It's simple, secure, and only takes a minute. And don't worry, folks, if you click on this link, the form will open in a new window and you can keep listening to the event. Or if you'd prefer to call in, you can call the number on your screen right now. If you get a busy signal, please call right back. You'll probably get right in. And remember, you can always go to the secure order form instead. It is the easiest and fastest way to get in. It will also give you a recap of everything you'll receive, so you'll know exactly what you're getting. And similarly, if you're having trouble accessing the enrollment form, please try again. It may be because we have too many people trying to access it all at once. All right, we are about to launch into our Q&A session, so let me just give you a recap of everything you're going to get when you subscribe. The minute you join, you'll be among the first to receive all of Larry's currency trade alerts. That includes both buy and sell alerts. You'll get his special report, Larry's complete guide to currency trading. You'll get unrestricted access to Larry's new currency training center. You'll get weekly performance updates delivered every Friday. You'll get a 12-month membership to Currency Wizard for just $2,000. Plus, for tonight only, you'll get a second year free. You'll get weekly recommendations all throughout the year, each one using one of Larry's hand-picked currencies. Plus, Larry also offers push notifications. How does that work?
Well, it's an alert system. The minute I find a trade, it sends an alert to your smartphone.
That's really handy for people on the go. And if you're worried about potentially missing out on one of Larry's recommendations, then you can have a notification sent right to your smartphone. And of course, you'll also get Larry's 90-day guarantee. If you are not 100% happy with your membership, just contact Larry's team within the first 90 days. You'll get a full credit. It's good for any product that Larry or his partners publish. And of course, I don't think it'll come to that. Given Larry's track record, I think it's much more likely you'll be calling Larry's team to tell them about the gains you made from his latest recommendation. And just remember, you have very little time to access this wealth of resources at this price. This deal is only available for a very limited time. If you wait, you could completely miss out. To take advantage of this special offer, just click the link on the page or call the number. You'll be able to get signed up in minutes. And again, if the lines are busy, call right back. Okay, while folks are looking at the sign-up page, why don't we get into our Q&A? Is that okay, Larry?
Sounds great, Kim.
All right, let me get the questions from my producer. Thanks, Lance. All right, so folks, this is your time to ask Larry your questions. He can't give personalized advice, but we're going to cover as many questions as we can, all right? So let's go ahead and start with this one. How long do you think this currency window will be open?
Well, first I want to say that the currency window was closed for almost 10 years. We traded currencies very, very actively throughout my career from the 80s when I worked at Spear Leeds up until when I had my fund at Banyan, all the way through 2012, 13, and 14. And then the window closed because of what we discussed earlier in the webinar, that the Fed took rates down to zero and took the wind out of the sail of volatility and uncertainty. In the 80s, volatility was insane in currencies. It was probably the best place to be. We talked about it before with George Soros, Andy Krieger. Moves were, 2 to 10% overnight in broad-based currencies such as yen and euro and British pound. That ended, but what we're seeing now is moves a bit smaller than that. But I do believe going forward for the next bunch of years, this currency window will be open because the Fed has gone off of easy money, taken rates from 0 to 5% right now. We believe they may pause, but we think it's going to go higher, which will create much more wild swings. And with that, we'll have the opportunity to make a lot of money. So I believe the window could be open for a decade here, potentially, because of the Fed action.
All right, that is great to hear. Okay, and here's another good question. If I have a small portfolio, can I trade currencies?
Well, that's a really good question, and the answer to that is 100%. Currencies were made for smaller portfolios. They provide a little bit more leverage than regular equities or bonds, so we don't recommend a ton of leverage in our product at all, but it gives you the ability with a smaller portfolio to take a little bit of leverage and create large gains. So with a small portfolio, you will be able to access the currency market easily.
We like hearing that. Okay, here's a question about risk. And I mentioned earlier that one of your specialties is capital preservation. You went years without losing money on Wall Street. So here's the question. What is your secret to risk management when it comes to Forex trading?
Well, the way we manage risk is not only in Forex, it's for everything we do. And again, we talk about it pretty much all the time, is put the P on the page. So what we like to do is grind out profits. And then when we have profits, take a little bit more risk and exposure, not a ton, but more. So if you start with one contract and we're doing really, really well, you would want to maybe go up to 2 contracts, take a little bit more risk, but you're playing with profits, and it's very important. We don't take more risk when we're not making money. So really, the secret to money management, is obviously using stops, but it's really money management more than anything else. So as we do better, we get bigger. As we do not as well, we get smaller, but we try to grind up profits so that we have the ability, when we see something coming that looks really opportunistic, that we could take a little bit more risk.
Okay, and Larry, I'm sorry, forgive me if you mentioned this, but do you use stop losses in your service?
We use stop losses on all our trades, and then we also use exits. So when we put a trade on, we will use a stop, but we also will give you a level where to exit the trade. So it makes it much more simplistic for anybody to use this, whether you have brand new, no experience, to a ton of experience.
That's great. Very simple, easy. Okay, this is really a good time to remind everyone of your special deal. Larry is about to release his next series of recommendations, and you don't want to miss them. If they're anything like his past ones, you could have the chance to make steady gains even in today's difficult environment. He's prepared a special deal for everyone watching right now. As I said earlier, the retail price for a 12-month subscription to Currency Wizard is $4,000. But today, Larry's put together a special deal for you. You can see a full breakdown on your screen. As long as you join right now, you pay a small fraction. Best of all, as a member, you will be able to take advantage of all of Larry's upcoming recommendations. So please don't wait, folks. If you join right now, you'll have the chance to act before the next big moves. If you wait, you could completely miss out. Just click the button on your screen or call the number on your screen. Lock in this deal while you still can. Okay, let's get to some more questions. Okay, here's a good one. What's the normal holding period for your recommendations?
That's another good question. It's really not predetermined. So each different trade may have a different holding period. Obviously, our ideal trade is within a day. So that would mean we would put the trade on, things would go perfectly, and we would exit the trade within 24 hours. Sometimes we hold trades into a few weeks, depending on if we believe in the position, but there's no certainty on the holding time. So I would say anywhere from as little as a day to a few weeks.
All right. Moving on to the next question, another good one, and I'm sure a lot of people are wondering about this. What is your long-term prediction for the stock market?
I always get that question.
Yes, you do.
I would say my long-term prediction for the stock market going out years is slow incremental gains, potentially, but underperformance from what we've seen over the last decade. I would say probably flat to a little bit higher over the next 5 to 10 years. So, but that doesn't mean there's not a lot of opportunity. There'll be, and we see it already in 2023. Nobody really expected the market to take off. NASDAQ is up 15% for the year. The S&P is up 6. I didn't see that coming. We've sort of stayed out of the way, but I do believe it's going to be choppy through the year. The market may end again flat to negative, which is hard to see from here. So it would be negative returns from here for the year, but on a longer term basis, I would say 5 to 10 years of flat to minimal gains.
Well, you've been right on with your predictions in the past, so we'll wait and see what happens. Next question, Larry, are you planning to retire anytime soon? I hope not.
No, I really enjoy what I'm doing, that I'm able to provide information and education, etc., to everybody out there. For my entire career, I traded at Spear Leads, which was a very large firm that was acquired by Goldman Sachs. And then I set out and had my own hedge fund for close to 15 years. And I wasn't able really to provide my resources to people that probably need to have it. So I really enjoy it. I don't plan on retiring soon, and it's gratifying really to help people.
Yeah, it's really become your passion. We love hearing that. Well, we are coming down to the wire, folks. Larry's special deal is only available for a very limited time. This is your chance to link up with a true investing legend. Larry is one of a few dozen market wizards. He's essentially in the Hall of Fame of trading. To be able to gain access to his most high-end research for a deal like this does not happen every day. As a member, you'll get his next series of trade recommendations. Please don't wait. If you act now, you'll have the chance to get in before a big catalyst. But if you wait, you could completely miss out. Just click the button on your screen or call the number on your screen. Okay, we have time for one more question here. What would you say to anybody who's just getting started?
Well, the first thing I would say is don't give up if it becomes a little bit difficult. The key to this is being able to learn, stay in the game, and get better. And as time goes by, you will see that you will click in. We're here to help you. So I think that's an added advantage that I have 35 plus years of trading experience. We're here to help you, answer questions, etc. But I would say stay small, stay in the game, and really just pick it up. And what happens is, as time goes by, if you're trading 1 to 3 currencies or maybe even 5, you're going to become an expert. You're going to see the moves and you're going to be able to really pick it up, and it'll become like riding a bike. It's sort of second nature to me. And I think that by learning and staying in the game, you will have the ability to take yourself to the next level.
Well said, Larry, and you'll be there to guide us every step of the way. Okay, folks, unfortunately, we're up against the clock here, and I want to thank Larry for sharing this message with us, and I want to thank all of you for joining us. If you are ready to get started with Larry, just click the button on your screen or call the number. Again, this is a rare chance to join one of the few market wizards in the entire world. His fund was in the top 1% in the entire world. One of his biggest secrets to success? Taking advantage of currency markets. He used them to help make millions for his clients. And since he started sharing it with everyday folks, the results have been fantastic. And now he's giving you the chance to access his latest recommendations, and he's offering an incredible deal. So please don't let this opportunity pass you by. Just click the link on your screen or call the number. Okay, that is all the time we have. So on behalf of Larry Benedict, I'm Kim Monning saying so long.